At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
This is a Fatal 4 podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You want the best? You've got the best. It's the hottest Japanese pro wrestling podcast in the world. It's Didn't Get All of It Japan. I am your host, Kaz Wheeler, and here to rock and roll all night and party every day, he is the Gene Simmons of my Paul Stanley. It's B-Rob.
Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn minute. Didn't you do this last time?
No, I didn't. No, Jesus. Completely different rock band.
But Ozzy was there last time.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Okay. Yeah, rock on. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth.
Lord have mercy. And both Nick and Will are out tonight, I assume searching for Snooki or whatever people in New Jersey do. But
Dragon
joining
Balls.
us tonight... No, that's just me and Will. But joining us tonight, a new guest to the Fatal 4 podcast universe. He is one of the hosts of the StardomCast. Matt Turner is here with us. Say hi to the people, Matt.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me. And since we have Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, could I either be Peter Criss or the God of Thunder? Would that one work?
Yeah, let's go Peter Criss. Yeah, everybody loves the cat, man.
Absolutely.
I would rather the God of Thunder because that sounds more metal.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Well, while we're on the topic, what's everybody's favorite Kiss song?
Ooh. See, B-Rob's not going to have an answer.
Yeah. I only know the one, the rock and roll all night.
There you go. We know your answer. We know your answer.
I think I kind of want to go Black Diamond.
Oh, that's a deep cut. I
think either Black Diamond or Deuce. I love Deuce.
Yeah, that's a good one. I go with I Love It Loud because it just reminds me of Dr. Death Steve Williams. That was his theme in All Japan.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever I hear that, I just think of people getting dropped on their head.
So
the only way I'm ever going to get you into metal music is by showing you old All Japan.
Yeah, probably.
But before we get going, if you like this here program and want to get us in front of more people just like you, head on over to your podcatcher of choice, give us a 5-star review, like us, subscribe to us, make our day and show your support in the easiest way possible. And now, enjoy the show. So, Matt, we are very happy to have you here. Why don't you tell the people a bit about yourself and the podcast?
Yeah, I've been an independent wrestler for over 20 years. I was trained in the Ring of Honor dojo by a little guy you may see on TV by the name of CM Punk. That was my main trainer many, many moons ago. So I made the rounds all over this great country of ours, doing the rounds of independent wrestling. And I still do the indies from time to time, but mostly most of my time is spent doing the StardomCast, talking about joshi pure wrestle, spreading it out to the masses because I don't think enough people know how great not only women's wrestling is, but how great the joshi, the female Japanese wrestlers are, in my opinion. And I watch every wrestling company I enjoy. I don't like tribalism in wrestling. I think it's stupid. I think it's dumb for you to hate on something. And if there's something you don't like, don't talk about it. Spend your time talking about the things that you love. But I think that women's wrestling, especially now in 2025, is the best wrestling going on the planet, and the best wrestling in the world is happening in the joshi promotions in Japan. Obviously, Stardom, Marigold, Tokyo Joshi Pro, Sendai Girls, but most of my expertise comes from Stardom and the new promotion that popped up about 15 months ago in Marigold. So not only am I the co-host of the StardomCast, I'm the co-host of the Marigold Standard and the co-host of Talk Joshi, where basically we talk about everything else outside of the Stardom and the Marigold bubble.
All right, so the Marigold Standard, is that copywritten? Because that's a good-ass name.
There's going to be a lot of stuff. I shouldn't have. I'm not going to get into legal things here. I better watch what I say. I have to refer to my CFO after said podcast.
Yeah. So all right. So I too have a minor in indie wrestling and whatnot, as far as physically getting in the ring and doing things and whatnot. Mine's is a very small minor. Probably nothing to even brag about, but I like to ask people who get in the ring and do the craft, what was your first bump like? What was that experience like for you? Before I trained at Ring of Honor Dojo, I trained at a local school that was right next to me. And long story short, the guy that originally trained me, nice guy. Other than lockups and bumps, that's all he taught you. The ring must have been about 30 years old because the ropes were off-centered and the boards really weren't the best. But to answer your question, because of how old the ring was and the fact that I was probably at the time about 120 pounds soaking wet holding a brick, that first bump is basically like jumping into ice-cold water in the middle of January. So yeah, it absolutely sucked and I absolutely loved it. And I've pretty much been hooked ever since. So yeah, that's what my first bump was like. Eventually you build up a pain tolerance. You build up a callus to your body. Not only that, but when you're in a match, you do dumb things. There's a lot of dumb things that I have done, like taking suplexes on the floor in front of 40 people, diving into the third row for $50. And yeah, so I've done a lot of dumb things, a lot of harm to my body. But at the same time, if you're getting into professional wrestling, you know what you're getting into. You're going to abuse your body. And I have no regrets whatsoever because you really learn a lot about yourself and the human body in certain different ways to try to heal your injuries up faster so you can get back in the gym to train and back out there on the road and whatnot. But yeah, that's my first bump was fun. Like I said, it felt like jumping in an ice cold pool in the middle of January. Yes, I remember mine too. It's just like I don't even know what it was, and it's not like I wasn't used to it before because I'm prior active duty military. So we already have similar training with the Marine Martial Arts program. So they teach us how to do break falls essentially. So I mean, same thing as a front bump, back bump, and everything. So it's all the same mechanics, but like the only thing different that I had to do for wrestling training was like throw my feet up.
Tuck your chin and swim out. But and thank you for your service, sir.
Oh, thank you for your service in the Indies. Because your entertainment is doing a great service.
Nothing compared to what you've done, sir. So, but thank you for your kind words.
You put your body on the line.
Especially that all of our guests are so much nicer to you than we are.
Yeah, you sons of bitches.
Be nice to everybody, folks. Be nice to everybody. That's my motto.
Yeah, we
hear him. Be nice to everybody, Kaz.
Yes, I am very nice. Yeah, we had Artie Reynolds on a few weeks ago, and he was the first person in the year of the show to actually thank Pete Rob for his service.
Yeah, you're a second place, but you're first in my heart, Matt.
Yes. You should lead with that every time. You have a guest on. After he calls you Peter, Chris, or Geezer Butler, or whoever, then you should lead with that. There you go. It's a good way to start.
You hear that, Cass? Put it in your note. Thank me for my service every episode.
You start off with a good vibe. You know what I mean? You start off with a good vibe, and then you get rocking and rolling from there. You give the rock and roll vibe, the heavy metal vibe. I'm a huge heavy metal person. So you throw like a Dave Mustaine or a Kirk Cameron in there or something like that, and you go Tony Iommi, and you go in there and you're off rocking and rolling. Then you're ready to talk about the G1. Then you're going to be talking about, Kenta and Marufuji kicking each other in the face. Then it just keeps getting better and better from there.
Yes.
I will take it into consideration. I'm always open to new things. And speaking of new things, I will say last year we covered the 5-star a little bit ourselves, and it was not my favorite episode. I think we've been over this historically when we've talked about that show, because I was very much alone in how much I watched Stardom versus the rest of the crew at that point. So it was basically just me for about a solid 15 minutes naming people that these guys had never heard of.
You're like, you guys are missing it. This is great with Tam.
Yes.
And last year's tournament was, in my opinion, the second best in history. 2022 is my personal favorite, but it's like you guys are missing matches with Mike and Saya Kamatani, and Mayu's run was incredible. And just like the way Yuna Mizumori was able to, even though she didn't get a lot of points, was able to extend herself in that tournament. Last year's tournament was phenomenal. Zumi, Tomoka Inaba, Mei Sarah. I can go on and on and on, but last year's 5-star, it really has, as good as the G1 has been the last few years, it really has replaced the G1 pretty much ever since 2021, in my opinion, as the go-to tournament for all of Japanese wrestling.
Yeah. And then like within the year lifespan of this pod or whatever, it's been more of an educational tool for me. Because like I know of Japanese professional wrestling, but like my bag is mainly New Japan because that was the first thing that was kind of like readily available to me. So it's just been like this past 365 days of Kaz and Will kind of educating me on the product and like having me branch out from my New Japan bubble and stuff.
So what G1, like, is there a certain G1 that's like your go-to G1? Because they've had New Japan had like 7 or 8 in a row of like must-see G1s, like back in the Omega, Prime Tanahashi, Naito, that one with the Bushi, Ishii, Goto.
Yeah.
And then they throw Toriano in there as like your comic relief because you kind of need your ha-ha in there.
Yeah.
But there has been some unbelievable G1s. Now, have you guys seen those? Like, how far did your G1 history go back?
I mean, I remember the one G1 where Yano said he was going to like play it straight and like really wrestle the whole time. I think that was a good one for me. I just remember all the hijinks that ensued because nobody expected him to really wrestle or play it straight.
I think that was 2019. I think
2018 or 2019.
18.
Yeah. I'm bad with dates, so it's just like I'll just shout out things.
Yeah, I think that was the first one that I remember you really talking about.
Who is because again, I don't watch New Japan. I do watch New Japan like the big stuff, and obviously Walker Stewart's a friend of the show. I love what Chris Charlton's doing, so I'm always going to support them, and they're crushing on English commentary.
Yes.
I think Walker Stewart is the best commentator in all of wrestling, and again, I'm not just saying that because he's a friend of mine. I really think that he is the best commentator of all of wrestling, and now he's branching out to doing the Stardom shows, which is what Stardom desperately needs, is more English commentary. They need more English content again, so the American audience and the English-speaking audience can watch, again, in my opinion, the best wrestling company in the world, Stardom. A little bit biased, but we obviously New Japan and Stardom are both under Bushi Road, so they're underneath that umbrella. But he's doing such a great job calling the Stardom action. He does a great job with the New Japan stuff. But my question to you guys is, and I know the G1 just started just a few days ago, who is your pick to win this tournament?
Come on now.
We actually just did. I will say, right before we get to that, we do have someone who's called a show with Walker Stewart on here with us. B-Rob has called with Walker when he was in Texas.
Yeah.
Does he still do that, B1? Because I know he's insanely busy, but I know from time to time he'll still dabble back into the indies back in his hometown.
Yeah, I mean he comes every now and then or whatever, but like I got to fill in for one of the commentary guys, and I got to work with him, and I was like in awe of this dude's presence physically because he's a big guy. He's like really tall and everything, and he's young as shit. He's like about the age of my oldest child and shit. So
I got kids as old as you.
Yeah, but like for real, to sit next to him and listen and watch him work. It was truly amazing because the dude is like in his lower 20s, mid 20s or whatever. And when I worked with him at that time, he was probably like maybe 22, 23, something like that. And he was knowledgeable of the product. I mean, he could speak to it, even though I hadn't seen him there. And like New Texas Pro here is like my indie at the time. Like I was at every show. I was helping and putting up the ring, moving the ring and doing everything for that promotion. And like just him day one coming in and just doing what he did, fucking phenomenal. And like, I won't rebut your claim of him being one of the best commentators in the game right now, because I mean, he's up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good. It all depends on your flavor, on what you like. Like Michael Cole does great with the storytelling for WWE, and they're entertainment first. And he's gone on record saying they're an entertainment company first before wrestling. Like Corey Graves does a great job. Excalibur's great. I don't care what anybody says. Jim Ross still has it, and it feels like a big thing when he does commentary. And they just had All In your neck of the woods, guys, about a few weeks ago. And having Jim Ross beat cancer and then make travel to go to Texas and call those last two matches. Not only did he do a great job, but he made those last two matches of Okada versus Omega and Hangman versus Moxley. It made it feel like such a big deal because he's the greatest of all time, and he's making his travel after battling cancer to call these two matches on the biggest show that company's ever done on American soil. Jim Ross still has it. I love listening to his commentary, but there's so many great commentators out there, which is great because there's so many great promotions out there. Like when I broke in 20 some years ago, ECW was dead. WCW was dead. WWE was only hiring people that looked like Batista. And again, at the time I was maybe 130, 140 pounds soaking wet. So I wasn't getting a call from there. Ring of Honor had just started. TNA had just started. New Japan was almost dead, which is crazy to, again, if you know your history, Tanahashi, what he did to save that company is truly remarkable. The All Japan Pro Wrestling Noah exodus just happened. So there wasn't a lot of places to make money when I broke in 20 some years ago. And now it's thriving. Like TNA just did 7,000 people. AEW's crushing it. WWE's nobody's ever anybody's going to touch. All Japan's doing well. They'll never get back to where they were in the 90s, but they're still doing well. Noah sold out Corkin, I think, like 2 days in a row. 01's doing pretty good. What's the other? Dragon Gate. Like, there's a lot of MLW, the NWA. There's a lot of places to go to make money, but not only for wrestlers, but for commentators and things like that, and podcasts as well, because the world of professional wrestling, and I mean, look at Busted Open. They are now 24/7 on Sirius Satellite Radio. They are in the same breath as Howard Stern, the king of all media, having a 24/7 channel on satellite radio. So wrestling right now, I mean, I've been obsessed with pro wrestling for almost 40 years and studied it, and being in the business as long as I have and understanding things and being taught professional wrestling and being able to pick the brains from some of the smartest wrestlers past, present, and future. Can I honestly say, as pro wrestling as a whole on this planet, this is the biggest that it's ever been. And in my opinion, it's only going to get bigger.
Now, before you take your next breath, because you data dumped us a lot of stuff there, and I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. Doing this stuff, being behind the scenes for over 20 years, as a performer and everything like that or whatever, what do you think has changed from the time you started up until now? Well, it's like one or two of the biggest changes that you've seen.
Everything's so accessible. I remember going to ECW shows in the 90s and you tape trading. Like, you were literally waiting. You would hear about a big match Masao and Kawada had, and it would take you 4 or 5 weeks to get a tape from said match. And it's like fourth generation, and you can barely, and you didn't care. Now it's like you have something, it's live on your phone or your tablet or whatever. YouTube is huge. Everything is so accessible. And again, I remember sending tapes and DVDs and resumes to promoters. Now you're just sending a link. Or, hey, here's my YouTube page. So everything is so accessible. The world is so smaller now in the best way possible. You can watch each and everything. I remember I got done wrestling the show, and about an hour and change away from where I live now. And because where I was, I stayed over at my parents' house. I remember waking up a couple hours. I remember waking up early in the morning, and on my phone, I was watching Omega Okada 2, the match from Dominion where they went to the 60-minute time limit draw.
Hell yeah.
This is crazy. I'm literally sitting in my childhood home watching this match that's in Japan, on my phone as it's happening. I'm like, that would never, you would have told me that like 15 years prior, that would have blown my mind. But how everything is so accessible. And again, even podcasts, you can listen to any podcast, and they're pretty much all free. You just put them on your phone. And if you're driving somewhere, or if you're cleaning, you're doing something, I mean, you can listen to Cornette and Jim Ross. And I know Stone Cold hasn't released a new podcast in years, but Stone Cold, and obviously my stuff and your guys' stuff. And everything is so accessible now. And it makes things so much easier and so much better, because it's like going to an ice cream shop, and years ago, you don't have 3 or 4 flavors. Now you have like 5,000.
And you can pick and choose which ones you want, where it's like, I'm going to take this one, or I'm going to take that one, or I may blend 3 or 4 of these flavors together. Everything is so accessible. And again, you can watch what you want to watch, like what you like, and just appreciate the art that is professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Word. So I like, we're in the same boat. I mean, I love professional wrestling, and I'm firmly in the camp of watch what you like, and, don't be afraid to try something new, hence why we have a Japanese based podcast here. But do you ever feel the wrestling fatigue? Like, over the past couple of weekends, we had Saturday Night Main Event, then we had Evolution, and then we had All In, and then we had, another show in between that. All just like a whole bunch of weekends to where we had like multiple shows going on at the same time. Do you kind of feel like it's kind of overload or whatever, or are you just that much of a sicko like the rest of us where we just love that shit?
Let me tell you about my day. So I work a regular job, and then I still work I work a side job just to help this restaurant out that I used to work at when I was a kid. So I got home. By the time I finished my side job Sunday night, we're recording this on Monday night, by the way, for those out there listening. By the time I got home, ate, took a shower, talked to my wife, went to bed, it was 10:30 in the morning. I got up at 1:30 in the morning, so 3 hours later, to watch the Stardom show, which was phenomenal, by the way. Right, phenomenal, by the way. Go once this either buy it on pay-per-view or once it goes on Stardom World, watch it. The last 2 matches of Saya Kamatani versus Natsupoi for the World of Stardom Championship, and the semi-main event of Soriano challenging Starlight Kid for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Well worth your money. So I got up, and 99% of these Stardom shows that happen, the pay-per-views, I watch live because I like watching it live. I like interacting with our fan base on social media. I really enjoy it. I don't want to be spoiled. I want to watch it live. So I'm running on 3 hours of sleep with no problem. So I actually, because with my job, I get a lot of days to use, and I'm a workaholic. I don't like taking days off. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to take Monday off because I know Monday is going to be a long day for me. So I took about a 2-hour nap, and then myself and Rob Goodwin, my co-host of the StardomCast, we recorded our 5-star primer, which went about 3.5 hours. After that was done, I went to the gym, got a workout, came home, and then started watching more Stardom matches and some stuff from Marigold, just so I'm caught up on everything I have to do. Ate dinner, watched a little bit of The Office. Again, I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania. Scranton, what's up? And now here I am, 9:45 at night, podcasting with you folks. So to answer your question, I never, in my 40 years of being an obsessed fan, have ever felt a second of fatigue. And there is my explanation right there. Just what I was able to get done in a 24-hour span.
Well, Matt, you are truly Mr. No Days Off.
I don't believe in them.
Sir.
We got some A-block action to cover, right? Let's get this going.
Yeah, let's stop there right here. That'll be our A block, and when we come back, we're going to talk 5-star Grand Prix.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
And we are back, and we're going to talk some 5-star Grand Prix with Matt Turner from the StardomCast. Matt, why don't you tell us what the 5-star Grand Prix is for those uninitiated?
5-star Grand Prix, folks. This starts on Sunday, the 27th of July. So for the first time in the history of the tournament, is the largest field. 32 wrestlers will take part in this tournament. So what they have done, in years past, they've only broken it down to 2 blocks. They would have your red block and your blue, your red block and your blue block, And then whoever would have the most amount of points in said block would go into the finals. The winner of the red block would take on the winner of the blue block. Last year, they divided up into 4 blocks: Red Stars A, Red Stars B, Blue Stars A, Blue Stars B. So again, that's what they brought that format out last year.
It made sense. It worked really well. They had a playoff system where they would have 2 winners of each block win into the playoffs. So that seemed to work really well. This year, they're having 12 people into the playoffs, so 3 from each block. So whoever has the most amount of points from your Red Stars A, your Red Stars B, your Blue Stars A, your Blue Stars B, they're your number 1 seed. They get a bye. For you NFL fans, you know that when your team, or whatever team has the best record in the NFC or the AFC, they get the bye into the next round. So that's what they're doing here. So again, they have 12 people that can make the playoffs. And this is a murderous row of professional wrestlers we have in some of these blocks. Just for an example, in your Red Stars A, and I'm not going to go through everybody, but in your Red Stars A, you have World of Stardom champion, in my opinion, the best wrestler in all of wrestling this year, regardless of gender or country. Saya Kamatani is in that block. You have May Sarah, the fastest wrestler in all of wrestling. The current high-speed champion is in said block. Hanan, the winner of last year's Cinderella tournament, she's in this block as well as coming back from her run in the WWE as the former Blair Davenport, former World of Stardom champion, Bea Priestley. She makes her return back to Stardom in the 5-Star Grand Prix. Now, the one that I'm telling everybody to keep their eyes out for is Red Stars B. You have current Wonder of Stardom champion, also known as the White Belt. Starlight Kid is in there. Tomoka Inaba, only 21 years old, one of the hardest hitters in all of Japanese wrestling, trained by Taka Mijinoko. She's in there. You have Rina, who's actually Hanan's younger sister. She's in the tournament. Azumi, who I always say, with the exception of Will Ospreay, is the most talented wrestler in all of wrestling. And Will Ospreay himself has gone on record. He's gone on Chris Jericho's podcast and said that he thinks Azumi is the most talented wrestler in all of wrestling. And folks, that's Will Ospreay. He knows a thing or two about really good wrestling. Natsupoi, she's in that block as well, so she's fantastic. And then if you look over on the Blue Stars, you have some phenomenal wrestlers. Saya Ida, the Muscle Gorilla, she is a hard-hitting, no-nonsense wrestler. Basically, think of Stan Hansen and think of like a 5'6", 180-pound Stan Hansen. That's what you get with Saya Ida. No nonsense, no BS, all up in your face. Soriano, who might be the most perfect wrestler I've seen in years. I'm sure you guys all remember the insane bridge Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig used to have on the Perfectplex. Yeah, yes. Soriano's is better than his. Like, just unbelievable. I don't think she has a spine, but she is somebody to watch out for. The mighty Bozilla coming over from Marigold.
Yeah,
Bozilla. Yes. Yeah, Bozilla. She is in this tournament as well. And then if you go to Blue Stars B, that is going to be one of my favorite blocks because my favorite type of wrestling is the hard-hitting wrestling. We have a lot of hard hitters in this one. Momo Watanabe, who was the finalist in the 2021 tournament. Konami, a legit shooter. She's in this tournament. Current IWGP Joshi champion Sari, who's been making a lot of waves the last 2 or 3 years. She is in that block and making her tournament debut, as well as the winner of the 2023 5-Star Grand Prix, one Suzu Suzuki. So how this works, very much like the G1. If you get a win, you get 2 points. If you get a draw, whether it's a double countout, a double knockout, or a time limit draw, it's 1 point. If you lose, it's 0 points. So once the tournament is over, and again, the tournament starts on the 27th, and it goes all the way until the 17th. That's basically your regular season. Whoever emerges from each block with the top 3 points, they will go into the playoffs, and then the playoffs start on the 20th of August in the legendary Korakuen Hall. We will see the first round and then the quarterfinals, and then we will have the semifinals and finals on the 23rd of August in the beautiful Old Award City Gym. And the winner of this tournament usually parlays their shot into a World of Stardom championship, usually at the end of the year at Dream Queendom. Now, it has changed a little bit. Again, if you do remember, from everybody that's listening to this that follows New Japan, whoever wins the G1, they usually go to Wrestle Kingdom to challenge the champion. Obviously, Zack Sabre Jr. last year did not want to wait. He challenged Naito right away. That's basically kind of what happened last year. Maika won the tournament. She was actually the only wrestler in Stardom's history to go through the 5-Star Grand Prix undefeated, won every single match, then defeated Mayu Iwatani in the semifinals, and current World of Stardom champion Saya Kamatani in the finals. She very much almost pulled a Zack Sabre Jr. Didn't want to wait for her title shot. She took her title shot a month later. She was unsuccessful against then World of Stardom champion Tam Nakano. So again, I like how when you have these big tournaments or these big matches, you kind of have your tradition. Again, think of the Royal Rumble. Usually when you win the Royal Rumble, you go to WrestleMania to challenge the champion. Again, G1, you win the G1, you go into, usually you go to the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom to challenge the champion. More than likely, the winner of this tournament is going to go to the big show at the end of the year, which is usually in Sumo Hall in Ryogoku Kakakigan for Dream Queendom, which is always held on December 29th. So the biggest field Stardom's ever had. There is a lot of notable stars missing from this tournament over the last 2 years. Julia has obviously left to join the WWE. Utami, she's not here because she left a year and change ago to be with Marigold, as well as Utami Hayashishita and Mai Sakurai. Also missing from this tournament, Tam Nakano, because she has retired. Tekla, she has left to go to AEW, very much like Mina Shirakawa, left to go to AEW. Mayu Utani has left to go to Marigold. Then you do have Shuri, who we did see on AEW. She's having some elbow surgery. She's not in this tournament. And Micah, again, last year's winner of the tournament, she is down with an injury as well as Xena, who is in Micah's group. So there is a lot of notable names over the last 2 years that are not in this tournament. However, it still does not lack any star power. Not only that, but the crop of rookies we've seen in Stardom over the last 2 or 3 years are really making waves. They're really next level. So the way that I call this tournament is this is the opportunity tournament, because eventually wrestlers will go to different companies. Eventually wrestlers get injured. Eventually wrestlers retire. Other wrestlers need to step up, and there's 5 or 6 names in this tournament that I really think can step up and get to that next level. Notably is Azusa Inaba, Tomoka Inaba's younger sister, again, trained by Taka Mijinoko, only 17 years old. I think she's going to have a breakout tournament. I think Rina, only 18 years old, she's going to have a great tournament. Her twin sister, Hina, current future of Stardom champion, I think she's somebody to watch out for. I think Sayaka Kurora is going to make a lot of waves in this tournament. She won this year's Cinderella tournament. And you always can put that notion on whoever wins the Cinderella tournament. When they go into the 5-Star Grand Prix, if they win that tournament, there's only one wrestler in Stardom's history that has ever won the 5-Star Grand Prix and the Cinderella tournament in the same year, and that's Toni Storm. Toni Storm's doing okay for herself, guys. I don't know if anybody's paying attention to what she's doing. She's doing okay for herself. So if Sayaka Kurora can, pull off a big upset, she'll be in the same breath as one Toni Storm. And one of the other wrestlers, two of the other wrestlers I'm really looking forward to coming out of this tournament with the big name is Aya Sakura. She works that hard-hitting style, a very shoot-style professional wrestler, and Yuna Mizumori. Yuna Mizumori is a professional wrestler that I've been watching over the last 3 years constantly get better. And not every wrestler can be Kurt Angle. Not every wrestler can be Brock Lesnar, where they literally pick it up in day one and you're just like, that seems to be unfair. A lot of wrestlers really, really work at their craft to get better. And that's what I just love about pro wrestling or any sport in general. If you're really putting the time in and busting your butt and believing in yourself and not, giving into the naysayers, you will get better and you will reach your goals. And there is a lot of wrestlers in this tournament, especially Yuna Mizumori, that has really put the time in and is consistently getting better. So I'm really excited to see what Yuna is going to do in this tournament.
Wow. Well, once again,
did I sell you? Did I sell you, folks? Log on to Stardom World. You get this whole entire tournament for like $8. Like, what are you doing? It's the best wrestling company in the world. And I watch AEW, I watch New Japan, I watch WWE, I watch NXT, I watch Marigold. Nobody is doing what Stardom is doing in a professional wrestling aspect, between storytelling, psychology, able to make their champions mean something. Sai Kamitani and Starlight Kid, the current Wonder and World of Stardom champion, I think those are the 2 most important belts in wrestling because they don't make a mockery of those belts. They're not being flip-flopped every week. There's not 84,000 run-ins. There's no celebrities costing people championship. This is professional wrestling the way that it's supposed to be.
So, Kaz.
Yes, sir.
Who do you got for picks? Who you got your eye on this tournament?
It's interesting. I think if I had to make a pick, because I'm of one of two minds. I think if you want to just keep the status quo, I would think Saya makes a lot of sense and have her make a choice of who she wants. And I mean, like Matt said, she's been one of, if not the best in the business this year. But if you wanted to do something interesting, I wouldn't mind seeing Natsupoi win it. I think have a rematch. I think, like Matt said, there was a great match that they just had. I would love to see that run back and maybe see Natsupoi get a run with the big belt.
They planted the seeds for it. They planted the. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but after the match today, after Saya Kamatani was successful, they planted the seeds for a rematch coming up soon, because after Natsupoi got defeated, Saya Kamatani, she is a member of Hate, the only heel faction in Stardom, and they jumped Natsupoi and they plant the seeds for a rematch. And the one thing that Stardom does, and New Japan does it too, and All Japan back in the day used to do it, they're not afraid of doing a rematch if it makes sense. If you go back to those All Japan days, it was always Masawa, Kawada, Kobashi, Taue. Again, with New Japan, they made a lot of money with Okada versus Tanahashi doing rematches that make sense. Stardom has done 3 matches with Saya Kamatani versus Tam Nakano in a 6-month period. They did one at the end of the year last year, sold out Ryogoku Kakakigen. They sold out Sumo Hall. No other Joshi promotion has done that this decade. And then they went to Korakuen Hall. They broke the all-time attendance record in Korakuen Hall 3 months later with Saya versus Tam Nakano. Then they ran it back a month and change later at the famous Yokohama Arena and did 7,500 tickets, the largest crowd they ever did. So Stardom they're not afraid to run rematches if they make sense. So Kaz, I'm with you on that Natsupoi. It makes sense. This is, since I've been covering Stardom since 2021, this is the most open field. This really is the most open field. 2021, Julia was supposed to win. She got injured halfway through the tournament. They realized they had lightning in a bottle with Shuri. Shuri wins the tournament. 2022, everyone knew it was Julia's story. She won the tournament. 2023, it was supposed to be Saya Kamatani, but Saya got injured on night 1. They had a flip-flop from things, and it was Suzu Suzuki. I think everybody kind of realized it was either going to be Kamatani or Micah last year. They met in the finals. But usually you can kind of, even with the G1, you can kind of narrow it down to 1, 2, maybe 3 people. This year, Kamatani does make sense. I mean, she would be the first red belt champion to win the whole thing. And there's a lot of rumors going around that if she wins, because she gets to nominate then her challenger, she will nominate Tam Nakano again, thus bringing Tam Nakano out of retirement. That's something that would really, really pop a house. Natsupoi makes a lot of sense. Starlight Kid, who is my pick, she makes a lot of sense. Sari makes a lot of sense because they know they're good. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say or whatever. I was talking to Cass when I was waiting on you earlier. I was like, this list is getting smaller to me. I'm not talking about like the field of the tournament, but like Cass and Will would get on here and they would say names and I'd be like, who the fuck is that? Who the fuck is that? But now as you went through the blocks and everything and you were saying names and, I can recognize these people in my head. I know Azumi, Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, freaking Tam Nakano, all those names, they're familiar to me now. And I'm kind of proud of myself.
The list of people you recognize is much bigger.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we set out to do with this show. So far we're succeeding.
Yeah. But as you said, and that name is what sparked my, my outburst there. Starlight Kid. That's what I want. It's just like, since I've been kind of like intermingling, my Japan watching experience with the women and everything or whatever, Starlight Kid has always stuck out to me. I think the first thing that I really kind of like got a eye full of her on was the crossover show. She teamed with Desperado, and they had like the cool half mask and everything. And like ever since there, and she even came back for the Despy Invitational, and like it was a fun show then too. And I was just like, I'm just like all about Starlight Kid, and I want all the things for her.
If anybody's listening to this has never seen Stardom before, I'm sure everybody knows who Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks. I'm pretty sure they probably know who she is. I met Mercedes at a convention a couple months ago, and I asked her, I said, who's one wrestler you never wrestled that you want to wrestle? And she said, without even taking a breath, as if she was waiting for the question, Starlight Kid. So, and she's, so that's the wrestler she wants to wrestle the most. And again, AEW has a working relationship with Stardom. My guess, when the time is right and the schedules line up, that is a match that you are going to see somewhere down the line. And that would do gangbuster business. Yes, that would do gangbuster business for Stardom and especially Starlight Kid, because again, the Stardom, when you watch Stardom for the first time, if you're a professional wrestling fan for a long time and you like really good wrestling, you'll be blown away. And the thing I always go to is one of my tag partner, one of my best friends, Andy Header. I was trying to get him into Stardom for years, and I was like, you will be blown away by certain wrestlers. And once he started watching, he fell down the rabbit hole, and he watched. It's literally his favorite promotion to watch. So I tell people all the time, like, once you get in there, you're going to be addicted. And Starlight Kid is a really good way to start. I tell people all the time. I get a lot of people asking me, like, what are matches to start off with? And it's really tough because there's so many great matches. But Starlight Kid versus Azumi, you can probably find them on YouTube or find like the clips on YouTube. Find their matches from 2022 and 2023. And if you're not amazed by that, I got nothing for you. Maybe a hug. But again, Starlight Kid versus Azumi, go out of your way to find their matches because nobody wrestling is doing what those two wrestlers are doing.
Kaz, final thoughts on the Grand Prix?
Final thoughts. Like Matt said, I think this is as wide open a tournament as they've had in a long time with all of those big names that are not in the tournament this year. So yeah, I think this would be a great jumping on point if you've ever wanted to watch Stardom and see what they have to offer. This 5-star with this much talent, I think is a great jumping on point for people.
Word.
Yeah, I agree.
Matt, how about yourself? So your pick is Starlight Kid, you said?
My pick is Starlight Kid. Yeah, Rob,
okay.
as I mentioned, Rob and I, we did our primer. And so Rob's pick, he's got Momo Watanabe winning. He thinks they're eventually going to turn Momo Watanabe back babyface.
That would make me happy. I'm a longtime Momo fan.
I love Momo Watanabe. And again, they're trying to tap into the English market. And we were in Las Vegas for all of the Stardom shows and all the indie shows. And nobody got a bigger reaction than Momo Watanabe. And she's supposed to be a heel, but she's like that cool heel now. Mm-hmm. She's a great worker. She understands her character. And again, if you think about some of the best babyface in the history of wrestling, they were cool heels. Ric Flair, The Rock, like they're kind of, Stone Cold. Those are kind of the ones to go to. That's where they're at with Momo Watanabe. That's his pick. Karen Peterson, friend of the show from Post Wrestling, and she writes for Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Her pick is Azumi. My wife went completely out of left field. She watched a little bit of Stardom. She picked Ami Sori. And again, one of my best friends and my tag partner, Andy Header, he has Sari winning it. So a lot of different picks that are out there. But Kaz, you're with me here with Starlight Kid. Is that what I'm going with here?
I think I'm still leaning Natsupoi, but I'm closer to Starlight Kid than I was when we started.
So again, we just talked about 5 or 6 different people that have different picks, and there's reasons that all make sense. This tournament is good. Wrestling wise, it's going to be great. And then the unpredictability of the tournament is just going to add to it. Then you're adding in a playoff as well. This is going to be a really great tournament. And again, I believe the first night and the last nights are going to be on pay-per-view. But most of this tournament, you're going to be able to watch for your like $8 subscription fee for Stardom World. Stardom World, not a sponsor of the StardomCast. I think they really should be for how much free press that and how many different people we drive over to that website. But regardless,
lose them at the end.
Yeah, I really think that this tournament is as you said, Kaz, a really great jumping on point because there's a lot of new listeners to the StardomCast and a lot of new watchers to Stardom. And it's been helping them a lot that we're seeing Stardom talent featured on AEW programming.
All right, that's great. If you want some real, just in-depth analysis, Stardom, there's not a better place than StardomCast to listen to that.
Or listen to this episode again.
Yeah. Tell the people where they can find you.
Guys, if you want to get a hold of me, the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me, just search at Matt Turner OF on either Instagram or Twitter. Send me a DM. If you're not a social media...
Whoa. OF.
Yes.
Is it OnlyFans?
No, OF is Old Forge. That's my hometown.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Anywho, let me do that again. At Matt Turner OF is the best way to get a hold of me on social media. Or if you're not somebody that wants to go on social media, I completely understand. My email address simply is the StardomCast22@gmail.com. And then if you want to listen to the podcast, just search everything on the StardomCast. We usually drop maybe 5 to 7 episodes a week between Patreon, between the StardomCast, between the Marigold Standard, between Talk Joshi. Go on to the Patreon. It doesn't cost anything to look. That's where we drop all of our news and notes.
Sign up for our Patreon. You can sign up for the free tier and get all of the news and notes. You can sign up for the $1 tier and get everything early and ad-free. There is alternate commentaries. There's retrospectives, championship reviews. There is so much stuff. The back catalog on our Patreon is just insane. It's just massive. So if you can't get enough of what we're doing on the StardomCast, you can join our over 110 subscribers on our Patreon and join on there again if you want alternate commentaries, rivalry reviews, breakdowns, anything like that. There is so much stuff there. And again, folks, it doesn't cost anything to look.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Matt, thank you very much for being on with us. I think that was very informative for all of our listeners, and we appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night, and I'll speak to you guys soon.
All right. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
And welcome back to that classic C block action. The G1 has started, ladies and gentlemen. So we got a couple of things that we want to hit here, and we got some Noah news that seems to be quite a bit interesting. Cass, what we got on the docket?
Yeah, let's hit the G1 first. As of the first two nights, we have one standout in the A block, and that is at 4 points. Evil.
Oh no!
Haven't gotten wins over Callum Newman and Yoda Tsuchi.
Fuck.
So far, not great, but kind of good for us. So far, at 0 points is Sonata, who has losses against Tsuji and Findling.
Hey,
so
man,
our Sonata at 1 point prediction is still alive.
Yes.
There were the only real surprise for me for A block. Let me find it right here. Where are we at? Where did Callum go? Yeah, Callum Newman. I'm sorry, not who did Tanahashi lose to? He lost to Taichi. He beat Taichi, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm reading this thing wrong. The circle's wrong. Yeah, Callum Newman beat Tanahashi for his 2 points. That was surprising to me. I did not expect that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone did. Oh, I
don't think. I'm pretty sure that I do. However, I think because I had to go back and re-listen to our picks last week because someone forgot to press save. We won't discuss who that was. So I had to go back and listen, and I believe we had a draw with that match, and Mallory Marsico is the one who picked Tanahashi for that, so we blame her for that loss.
Yeah. I can't call certain people a motherfucker, but you motherfucker.
I'd rather you didn't.
Hey, man.
Then over.
It's a person, place, or thing. It's okay. Is
it? Then over in B block, we have a little bit more interesting block, or more interesting action. We have Yoshihashi and Drilla Maloney in the lead at 4 points at the moment.
What?
With Shingo and Gabe Kidd at 0.
I don't like any of that.
We're getting some weird stuff. And we also, speaking of Gabe Kidd, he has 0 points because the match with Zack Sabre Jr. was forfeited because he's currently dealing with an injury that we are not sure how long it's going to have an effect on this tournament.
Or be real.
As of yet. There's been some scuttlebutt, but from what I can tell, I think it is legit. But hopefully it's not going to keep him out much longer, because otherwise that pretty much throws off his entire tournament.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely didn't see Drilla Maloney having 4 points and being in a lead. Even like it's only 2 days. It's only been 2 days.
Yeah.
Like people have only had at most 2 matches, so it's not like it's any crazy thing. And obviously, Drilla is not going to go undefeated or anything.
Yeah, no shit. It's like one of those things you just get the loss out of the way right now.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's our early first 2 days. The next night of G1 action is tonight after we record. So next show we'll have a much clearer view of who is kind of in good shape. I think there's 4 shows in between the next time we record, I believe. Mm-hmm. So we'll have a much bigger scope of what we think this tournament is going to look like. But the other thing we want to talk about, there is a bit of Pro Wrestling Noah news. First thing we'll talk about is that after the GHC Junior Heavyweight title match, Yohei was confronted by Hiromu Takahashi.
I jumped out of my shit when I saw that. I was like, what? I said, he's just going to take over the junior division in a whole nother company. Fuck it.
He might. I mean, he doesn't have anything to do right now while the G1's going on. So go over to Noah and fight for their junior title. But they're going to have that match August 11th. I think that's must watch for me. I'm very curious. I mean, there's plenty of time for him to win the belt and chop it back. Or just hold it. Why not? Do something interesting.
Yeah, people don't like to give up belts lately.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for Noah to have their belt on a New Japan show. But speaking of belts on people, let me read this as I wrote it because I think it's very interesting. There's a new GHC heavyweight champion as Kino defeated Ozawa to win the belt, ending Ozawa's reign at 7 defenses. Kino was challenged after the match by Kenta for the following night's event. Now, let's cover this first one. Kino wins the GHC Heavyweight Championship over Ozawa.
Yep.
How do we feel about that?
I don't like it.
I don't love it either.
I don't like it, but what you're about to go into, I would rather it being who it is now rather than Ozawa.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, yeah, Ozawa's reign, I think, was a lot of fun. I think it breathed a lot of life into Noah because it needed something. And Ozawa was just a very different type of dude than who they would usually push. So I think his reign was a success overall.
I think so, too.
And I think going into the N1, he's got to be one of the favorites whenever that starts. And I think having him do something different and then maybe get back to the belt isn't a bad thing. But, and this may sound familiar, there's a new GHC heavyweight champion as Kenta defeated Kano to win the belt, ending Kano's reign in less than 24 hours.
No shit.
Kenta was then challenged after the match by Namichi Marufuji.
This is wild shit. This is like a fever dream.
Kenta is your heavyweight champion in Pro Wrestling Noah once again.
I don't understand this.
I need you. Here's what I need, because I'm sure you haven't watched the match yet.
No, but I was spoiled. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, go ahead.
That sumbitch has been sandbagging for years.
Yeah,
because he can still work.
Oh,
he just didn't give a shit. He just didn't give a shit and wanted to payday.
He just wanted to payday. Can still work. That son of a bitch.
Kenta looks good. So I'm very curious because Ozawa did beat Kenta, because we thought there was a chance that Kenta might actually take the belt from Ozawa. I think it was either a month or 2 ago. But now he beats Kano, who has I believe, officially the shortest GHC heavyweight title reign in history, and is now going to have a match against Namichi Marufuji, which is a huge match if you love pro wrestling Noah in the mid-late 2000s, when that was the two of the biggest names in Japanese wrestling at the time.
I mean, in history, it's history, though.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have a match for the title. I have to assume Kenta wins that, because tossing the belt around that much feels like a lot. Mm-hmm. But I am curious. I do feel like, I was talking with Matt before you got on about this just a little bit. It does feel a little bit like maybe we're trying to pop some interest for Noah during the G1.
Okay.
And this is a pretty good way to do it.
And then Do you feel at any point that like this might be some of the WWE influence since they do have a partnership?
I don't know. Because Kenta's been pretty vocal about very much not enjoying his time there.
Well, yeah, I can imagine.
Even recently. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't hurt, but do I think that they're going to have? Oh Jesus, what's? I'm just blanking on the guy who's in NXT right now.
Inamura?
Inamura, yes. Do I think they're going to have Inamura come back over and beat Kenta for the belt? I hope not.
I hope not either.
But if there was WWE influence, then I could see that happening. I don't want it.
Yeah, I mean, because correct me if I'm wrong. The N1 last time Inamura came, he re-debuted because he came back from an injury, or he.
I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Okay.
And I do wonder if there's going to be NXT involvement this year. I'll be very curious. But I think the N1 starts. I think it starts in September this year, if I remember correctly. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, so Kenta is a world champion once again.
Never would have seen it coming.
No, I figured DPW belt or no, it wasn't DPW. It was Defy. He had the Defy belt. That's right.
Defy.
Yeah, I thought that was probably about as high as he was getting, maybe a tag title or something. But no, Kenta's your GHC world champion, and I would honestly go out of the way to watch that match. I think I'd go out of the way to watch both of these matches, actually. The Kino Ozawa and the Kenta Kino match. I think they were both very good. But yeah, Noah's keeping people interested, if nothing else.
Hell yeah. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think we're in a real busy season with the G1
wrestling,
the 5-star. It was just wrestling. Yeah, everything's going. Marigold's about to start their tournament. The Dream Star. I think TJPW is starting theirs as well. Yeah, there's a lot of tournaments going on right now. There's a lot of wrestling to watch. If you can watch all of it, you are better than I am.
Yeah, you're probably named Matt Turner.
Perhaps, yes. But yeah, so I think that's all the news and notes we have for this week. Thanks to Matt Turner for being on with us from the StardomCast, for myself and B-Rob. We'll see you next time. And if it's your birthday, happy birthday.
Yeah, if you're not here at work, go fuck yourself.
You've been listening to a Fatal 4 podcast. Subscribe today wherever you get your podcasts and visit fatal4pod.com for more episodes, merchandise, and info on the Patreon.